Okay, now having caught up, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the koha-US Systems Administration Special Interest Group, where we talk about systems administration in Koha and stuff. We complain about system preferences and change them and see what happens, break people's systems, and then write reports to find out how to fix what we've done. Has anyone broken their koha in a fun and interesting way recently that they would like to talk about to start? Fred has. Wonderful. What's up, Fred?
Okay. First of all, this is a system I set up yesterday in order to be able to break it. So nothing really terrible has happened, and I can just wipe it out and start over if I need to. But I am trying to install Elasticsearch on Koha 2311. I tried to do Elasticsearch 7 because supposedly you can install it. I probably need to go back and try it again because clearly I did something horribly wrong. I fell back to 6. But what I am stuck on is when I try to rebuild the catalog, it says use of uninitialized value in string EQ at /user/share/koha/bins search_tools rebuild _Elasticsearch PL in line 349. I tried adding an actual item. Before I did that, it was giving me 2 error messages, I think 309, 349. Now I have it down to 1 error message. Does anybody have an idea?
That variety of error message, in my experience, has usually been some missing bit of data, like something in the code is saying, all right, and then take the item's home branch and put it here. And there is no home branch value in Koha, just chokes and dies. So you could, I would start by looking up that line number in that code and seeing if there's any, like if it's obviously looking at items or bibs or, if you can tell what piece of data it's trying to interact with there. Because it sure sounds like a data error of some sort.
Gonna mute myself while I try it.
And yeah, and since you've got the specific error message that is pointing you to a line number, that fingers crossed could be clear. Certainly, with my very limited code reading ability, Perl reading ability, it's not uncommon for me to land there and just be like, okay, yeah, I see this is doing something at this line, and this didn't help me at all. But sometimes it's better than others. I can't think of any specific like Elastic bugs or like known issues, but I have not thought about Elastic in any depth in a while. Are any of y'all using Elastic? Do you have experience with Elastic reindexing errors?
Okay. 349 says sub_handle_response. If response errors EQ true, log 1, there were errors during indexing. I can't really tell which.
Well, see, that sounds like it looked to check what your error was, whether it was true or false, and didn't find something. So that, yeah, that's not very helpful.
It's better than you have made an error.
Yeah.
Okay, well, next, unless defined item index error. So sounds like maybe something in the item,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure.
Did you say you
what-
don't have any items in there?
I added one item.
Yeah,
Maybe I should add another one.
maybe.
I am Nick and I are doing a co-presentation on Elasticsearch in Portsmouth, so I figure I should probably know what I'm talking about. And
That sounds to me like that means Nick's going to be highly invested in helping you figure out what this error is.
I think he's going to do the overview of someone who works for a vendor, and I'm going to do, okay, well, I don't have a vendor. How do I do it? Yeah.
That sounds interesting and informative and scary.
Yeah, my other one is an update of one I did in 2016 about the MedStar Authors Catalog, where I took all sorts of catalog or actually Medline citations and turned them into MARC records. And Elasticsearch is making it a lot easier, and I can present a lot more information. Oh yeah, I have to do an Elasticsearch for that too. Okay, I'll keep trying.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Any other, I don't know, issues that folks are looking at or things you were itching to talk about? No, we're not all Bywater folks, but there's enough Bywater contingent that I'm sure we've all been deep, or many of us have been in upgrades. Everybody feeling okay about 2211 upgrade? Said that and then immediately doubted the version number, but no, that's right.
Yeah, I upgraded myself a few weeks, couple months ago. There are some problems, sort of, at least when I'm adding or staging and then adding records. It, no problem staging, adding the records, but the screen that I get taken to isn't really the one I'd like.
Oh yeah, there's like an intermediate batch job screen now.
Right.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
used to take you straight into that staging results page, and now it like walks you through. We're doing a batch job that is uploading your records. Okay, we're done. Now you can go see how it went.
Yes, when I stage something, it eventually will go to manage records. And when after I think it's import batch into the catalog, which is perfect iambic pentameter, and I wish I could come up with the other 13 lines. It says, you know, working on the batch job. Eventually, it will give me a screen saying, yeah, it worked. I'd really like it to go back to manage staged records so I could start adding items, but it goes to, the only option is to go to look at batch jobs in administration. So I have to go back to the main screen and to cataloging. It's not a major annoyance, but it's a minor one.
I feel like that got a little better though, because I absolutely ran into that same thing, got all snitty about the added screens, and like filed a bug, and then and I don't remember if it changed shortly thereafter or if someone like pointed out that I was being overly snitty. I think I might have gotten a nice message from Katrin telling me to calm down. You see.
Well, as of about half an hour ago, it was still taking me from import to administration screen.
I think I saw somebody in the Bywater Partners Slack channel talking about putting a link to the new cataloging page on the tools page, which made me laugh. Because I have absolutely spent a lot of time being glad that we now have a cataloging page, but also going to tools when I don't mean to. I'm going to share my screen and pull up the thing we've been talking about. So yes, batch import records lives here now instead of in tools, and it's confusing. Let's stage for import. Choose a file. Surely I have a bib record sitting around here someplace. A lot of pictures of cats. I was too ambitious, y'all. Well, hold on. Let me get a record. I won't make you all watch that. That sounds very boring. Also, I'm not on my normal computer setup, so I'm missing screens. And I've just lost my light. Sat too still. Trapped forever. Oh no, y'all. In addition to sitting in the dark, can't download this record. Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm gonna stand up and move around and get my lights turned back on.
I have one I can add that I just removed, if that's any help.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let me get to the right screen.
I picked a bad place to sit. I had to walk really far to get the lights to turn on.
Maybe just start a fire.
Then I would meet a firefighter. I've never seen anybody in this room.
All right, okay. There it is. No, that's not the one I want.
It's an exciting screen.
Yes. I'll see if I can stop share. Okay. And get the feeling I wasn't prepared for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I very much know your feeling.
Can you see where it says I'm highlighting stage records for import? Okay.
Yep.
Now browse. And where did I put it? Okay, Poisoner's Handbook. Upload file. By the way, I still haven't gotten the record matching rules to work. Though, was it Katrine? Is her name?
Yeah.
It worked perfectly for her.
Well,
Okay,
those
so,
will change a little with Elastic too.
of course it
With,
does.
I suppose.
Stage for import. Okay. View detail of enqueued job.
I think if you sit here though, when that gets to 100, then you can click view batch.
Then you can go to view batch. And then import this batch into the catalog. Okay, what I would like to do is return to the batch list with the link conveniently placed here, rather than have to go back to main, cataloging, manage stage records. And there I am.
I feel like that link exists. And
It does in my system. I just saw it.
So maybe Bywater backported something.
So go back a few pages, Fred.
To what?
Where it was giving you the details of the job. Like it took you to the.
I think it's administrating. Let me see if the back button will work.
So
Okay.
there. On my screen, I guess I can show you what mine looks like.
Okay, let me stop sharing mine then.
Oh gosh. I have a lot of things open. Let's try this one. Okay, so on my screen, I get this report and then a link to manage stage or manage imported batch, which takes me right to it.
Ooh, clever. How'd you
So
get that?
I don't know how I got that, but I have it. It could be part of, like Andrew said, the special sauce that Bywater sticks on.
So here's a bug 31891. Show mark staging result. Okay, that's the bug I filed to show that like summary of how many records were in and how they all sorted out. That got backported. Return to manage mark import after importing batch 31892. Was resolved as a duplicate and follow this goofy chain. Okay. Here, I'll give you a visual aid as I click through Bugzilla if I can figure out how to let Zoom make me do that. Okay. I filed this one. Oh, which got called a duplicate of that one, which is fixed, but also depends on file your note acquisitions. And this is in 2211.
Okay, I'm trying 2305 because I also want to redo my live real-time version of installing Koha, and I want it to last as long as it can. So I'm probably going to end up going back to 2211.
Yeah, there must be another bug somewhere.
The only reason I went, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, there must be code someplace that you haven't got.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Yeah, the only reason I went to 2305 was I wanted to see if I could use Elasticsearch 7. I'm going to try that again and then give up.
Yeah, I'll see if I can't figure out where that link comes from.
I'm coming in late, excuse me. Fred, are you talking about what we spoke about a few days ago about the extra clicks for importing batch
Yes.
records?
Yes.
Yeah, so I just sent something to Nick yesterday with detailed screenshots. I'm having issues with the same thing. It's like, where do I go? It's counterintuitive. So I don't know if he's responded to me yet, and I'm happy to send. I guess you know all the clicks because it's leading me like down rabbit holes. Like, oh, I don't want to be on this screen, and then I can't get back to where I need to be. So it's frustrating.
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up in Google and getting all sorts of weird things. But
Well, and Christy, I don't know if you saw, Fred walked us through what that process looks like on his screen while Jason was doing it on his system. And Jason has a helpful link that Fred doesn't have to get sort of back on the path that one desires. So we've got some code inconsistency with an unknown source.
Oh, I missed that. Jason, can you just put that in the chat what that link is? Because I'm on 2211. I know Fred said you weren't on that yet, right?
I'm on 2305.
Oh, wow.
And it could be that that's going to be a revision pretty soon.
So I can show you again. Since it's in the details of the job after you've imported, then you get a link that's manage batch import. So I guess theoretically I should be able to go into the jobs. It was an import. Yeah, so it's in that job queue, but it takes me right here after I've imported the record.
Yeah, and I don't have that.
I'm trying to, let's see, let's undo the import. And then this is in my day job. Manage stage mark records. This one is staged. So if I import it, it looks different than before.
Yeah, so that's what happens. And the frustrating part, I do have this, what you have, Jason, but as an acquisitions person, I like to see, like, sometimes maybe 2 out of the, I don't know, 100 records don't match. And I want to know, like, what are those titles? And so it seems like I can't reach those until after I do the import. And then there used to be a bug in Koha that on the former version, that if you undid an import, it did something even worse. So I never wanted to undo imports because I don't know if they ever fixed that bug. So again, it's like more clicks. It's not intuitive, and I'm not understanding why it was changed. I'm all for change when it's good, but I'm just not understanding it.
My guess is it's probably an accident.
Yeah, not that that's a ton of comfort, but I think that is probably what happened, that it just, no one quite realized the manner in which they were changing that workflow.
Yeah, I think maybe it's one of those, oh, yes, you're right, it should be doing this. Let me fix it.
Overall here, it sounds like we need to file some bugs and agitate for the interface changes that we would like to see. None of this seems super hard to fix, but it doesn't seem like something anybody currently on this Zoom knows how to write the code to change.
Well, since I came on board, I was always told that acquisitions was like the caboose of Koha. So it's not one of the main functions that people use. So we're stuck maybe for a little while.
My informal sense is that that's getting less true, as there are more larger libraries using Koha that don't have the option to just not use acquisitions. For so long, the sort of like meat and potatoes Koha library was a like small public library that could totally do acquisitions in Excel if they felt like it. And I think that's less and less the case anymore. There are more people who like really need that acquisitions module to work well. And so it's getting some more attention. But this is me speaking from a smaller public library where, like, our use of acquisitions is pretty chill. It does what we need it to do.
Yeah, our acquisitions department orders books. She puts them on my cart. I get records from OCLC, upload them. Maybe 50 to 100 a year at the most.
As a weird tangent off of that, last week I was reading a bug in Bugzilla that is currently underway to add a preservation module to Koha. This is being coded by, I think it was biblio over in France. That's basically, seems sort of parallel to acquisitions, but it's to track when items like go out for a repair or a rebinding or something, sort of more of a process for that. Take a group of items and group them together into something like a basket. So you can say this batch of things has gone off to the bindery and now they've come back, and they're sort of track that process. It's not anything our library needs at all. Some library might. It's cool that they're writing it. If any of you all think that might be a module you'd be interested to use, I would encourage you to find this bug and give it a read and talk to them about the terminology they've translated from the French. Currently, that group of items that goes off somewhere and comes back is called a train, like, which is cute. They said it made sense in French and it amused them in English. So anyway, it's an opportunity for people to have opinions. I should find that bug number. It was interesting. It could be cool. I can't decide how I feel about a train.
Sounds like you could write a blues song about it.
Here we go, bug 30708, creation of a new preservation module. Put that in the Zoom chat. I don't know if you all on Bugzilla. Here, let me share my screen again. I spend a lot of time coming in here and checking on bugs reported or changed in the last 24 hours. It's a fun way to start your morning. See what's going on in Bugzilla. What crazy things are people getting up to? And I don't read all of these by any stretch, but it can be fun to scroll through and see what's moving and find the interesting preservation module that people in France are writing that you never would have known about otherwise. Does anybody have any SQL stuff they've been working on?
I wrote a theft report.
A
And
theft
then
report?
your library's been stealing my patrons. We had one of my libraries recently started up with Libby, and they wanted to see how many like patrons from other libraries were switching home branch so that they could use Libby, because only this branch has it. So I used the action logs to do that, and I found this nifty JSON value command that I didn't see in the reports library, so I went ahead and put it in there because it was handy. And then I was like, oh, action logs must be really easy to query with this. And then I started looking, and it's just patrons. It's the only thing it's really working with.
Yeah. I know there is a bug out there suggesting that all of the action logs should become really nice JSON arrays, which would be super cool.
Yeah, it would make querying that like way easier. Because on this, I was just like, I get the before value, I get the after value. Do they match? Now I have a count of how many patrons were stolen. So in a date range.
Let me find that bug, because I think that's absolutely one that's worth all of us being big noisy jerks on. There we go. Bug 25159. So I don't, if y'all have spent much time looking at action logs output, you know, they all kind of have their own different thing that they'll dump into that info box that is always some reflection of what has changed, but it's really inconsistent. I think when you save a bib record, the info box saves what the bib was before you saved it. And when you save an item, it saves the new values, like that level of maddening inconsistency. But the patron modification log is this golden standard of a beautifully formatted JSON set of this field was this, and now it's this. And it is the easiest thing in the world to write a report on. So yeah, Jason put a link in the chat there that will give a nice example. I know I've used the same thing to write a report that is, we store newsletter preferences in sort one. Like, what do you want us to send you from MailChimp? And it's a nice, easy report to say whose newsletter value has changed in the last month. Other action logs you start doing, like the holds logs print the contents of the reserves table into the info box, but not nicely JSON formatted, just sort of as a long string. And then you end up doing like a set of substring indexes to get, and it's harder, it's messier. So why not make everything a nice data format?
Yay, guess this question fits into this topic. Is it possible to write a report that will give you the number of times a book has been circulated and a number of times that it has been used or scanned for in-house use by iType?
I mean, yeah. Those should both, well, no, because locally, that was a lot of starts and stops. Yes, that is possible. It doesn't matter how you're recording local use because they end up in the statistics table the same way, either way. So yeah,
Oh, I also want it per book. So how many times this book has been checked out or used in-house? I could find the numbers for all of the reference books, but when I got into issues or in-house per book, it seemed to be very different from the issues table.
yeah. I suppose you could count checkouts using the issues table. That's not how I've ever done it, and I can't think of a particular reason why it wouldn't work. It's going to be easier to use statistics because local use is there. Let me share my screen. Write a quick report. I thought 2211 was going to give me tab autocomplete and reports, and it's not in this version yet. And I'm sad. I can live without it for a little while longer. Okay, so if I just say, look at the statistics table, it's going to tell me this item got returned, this item got local used, blah, blah, blah. So I can, from there, I can say, doing this in a weird order. We're going to group that up by item number and say, show me item number, said you liked the iType. And then this is my, like, one of my favorite constructions in SQL. I use it all the time. Sum if. So take all those lines for that item number. If it was a line where, oh, I didn't mean to type sum. If it's a line where the action, the thing that happened was an issue, instead of just give me a 1. And if it wasn't an issue, give me a 0. And that's going to give me a count of per item, how many checkouts there are in that issues table. And then I can take exactly the same thing and just say local use. And then it yelled at me because I named things wrong, but I'm close, almost there. Probably should have put a date range on this. It wasn't that slow. My system's not that big.
I don't think
Okay.
local use had an underscore in it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
We don't record many local uses, so I was prepared for some zeros, but I do think you're right that no zeros is. And I know if I looked at the schema, it would confirm that spelling. I think the day that, oh yeah, there we go.
Oh, yeah.
the day that I consistently remember when there is not, and when there is and is not an underscore is probably when I'm like ready to retire. Oh no, no more mountains to climb.
Okay, is there a way to include the title?
Oh yeah. So the statistics table includes the bib number. Biblionumber. Right? Does it? Am I correct in that? Or does it only have the item bibs? Zoom will let me find out. I think this only has the item number. Yeah, okay. So that just means we have to left join. Away Zoom controls.
Oh, wow. Yeah, could you go back to the code so I can, oh, thanks. So
Sure.
I can hit print screen.
Do you want me to put this in the chat?
Oh, that would be wonderful.
We all need an Andrew and Jason on board, right? At our libraries.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think we all just need lots of time to play with SQL. Just
I always maintain that you don't need an Andrew or a Jason because you already have an Andrew and a Jason. You just come to these meetings and ask questions.
but I do know that feeling of like when the library I was working at, yay, these many years ago. Oh, my battery's low. Switched to Koha. There was this spot of like, I've got a question that's not so stupid that I won't write a query for it, but it's too stupid to ask anybody else to write a query. And I don't think that was true, but it was very much how I felt. And I understand that. On the flip side, when I was working at Bywater and getting report requests from people, like there is no better late in the day ticket than someone wants an easy report. I would be thrilled to write that for you. That's just going to like cap my day off so good. But yes, overall, SUMIF is a great construction. It's like the pivot table of SQL. Yeah, I don't really understand how pivot tables work. That's kind of my understanding, that it takes things that were rows and makes them into columns. I don't know. Excel's dumb. The more time I spend with SQL, the less patience I have for Excel.
I have to say, I have been able to make Excel do a lot of moderately useful stuff.
Yeah, I guess.
Not a whole lot to do with Koha, but I can take a whole bunch of Medline article IDs issued over, let's say, a week, and put them in Excel and say remove duplicates. Makes things easier.
Yeah, but you could say select distinct whatever the heck in SQL and just be done with it.
Yeah, but I haven't turned them into MARC records yet.
Okay, so in my poor preparation, my battery's going to die. I don't feel like we are full of topics that people are dying to discuss. And obviously, when all of a sudden my computer's dead and I'm not here anymore, you'll all still be here and can continue to discuss. Maybe this is just me saying, I'm going to accidentally leave this meeting soon. It's been swell. What should we be talking about while my computer dies?
I would just like to thank everyone for answering my questions and being so helpful. And I didn't mean to dominate the meeting. Sorry about that.
Well, I wondered if someone could remind me what you need to use in SQL when you have amounts of money and you don't want to have, like, you only want to have the 2 decimals after, not 4 or 6 or whatever it reports back to you.
That's just round. Here, I should be able to shoot you the like.
I think I've used it before, but I couldn't find it, and I figured it's easier to ask.
I will put it in the chat.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, it wants you to tell it what you're rounding and how many decimal points you want to go to.
Did Andrew fade out?
It appears so.
Well, I'll ask another question. We're just getting around to using the POS in Koha. And for anybody else that's using it, do you find that the built-in reports are adequate for tracking all of your transactions? Does anybody have any special reports they are using? And if so, why and what do they do?
I know I had to write a new report that gets sent to my business office every day because she needed to know whether it was a cash or a credit payment, and that's not included in the built-in reports. It took me a while to figure out how to make the report work, and I had to put a ticket into Bywater to have them look at it and make it work for me. So I'm not real sure. I can't remember what we did, but definitely if you need to know, whether a transaction is credit or cash, then that wasn't in the built-in.
Okay, good to know.
We have a few reports per request by one of our libraries because their auditing requires a little bit more than what Koha offers. I mean, we use the POS for most of our libraries and it works well. It's adequate for what everybody needs. But for our Washington libraries, they have a little bit more stringent guidelines they have to follow. So they have to account for every single penny in every single way. And I will say that Koha does not track, well, whether something's cash or credit or check. And so, yeah, it makes it a little bit more challenging, but not too challenging. And I threw in my the way I format in our select statement an amount. It formats it to 2 decimal places and adds a $sign in front of it, so it looks like money. So
Cool. Well, I've been on vacation for 2 weeks and I did some stuff before I left and I don't remember what I did. So I'll have to look and see if I'm accounting for the different kinds of money, how it's being received. I might get back with either of you. We sell so many different things because it's not just, like earbuds. We have pumpkins and we have a pumpkin patch every October as a fundraiser. And, we sell all these weird things, like about 50 different kinds of things. And so we're having to make sure that we're, getting them down into each category. And we have to report amounts that we sell to both the foundation and friends and the city. So, yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
not sure why we did ours this way, but we used ABS, so absolute value in our formatting it. So that's going to give you the positive value of it. So that's another option. I don't
Good.
remember why we did it.
Okay, and that's absolute value in the sequel.
Yeah, I put it in the chat. but
Okay,
Yeah, if you're ever curious, the W3 schools has a lot of information on all of these sorts of things like absolute value or doing the rounding and things like that. That's where I've learned a lot of what I know.
well, I'm glad you mentioned that because I do find it confusing to have the negatives and, you know, it just doesn't look right to me. So thank you.
Apparently I magically inherited host. So look at that. Does anybody else have anything you want to talk about today?
I will say that George and I are putting out a video in the near future. I don't know where it falls in line. We pre-recorded a bunch of stuff, but we do have a video on the formatting of the staff client with colors and a little bit of customization. So we've got that coming out to look forward to. But George put out some code. I implemented it, and you can see it at work. I don't know if he doesn't have it live. You guys don't have it live on the. He doesn't have it live on the next search, does he? I think he has it on his test server, but I don't think they're live. I don't think they're live with 2211 yet. But it is on the Koha demo. I did customize that because George stuck a very generic looking koha-US label in the corner, and I thought I want the logo, so I went and changed that, and then I went ahead and customized the colors in there too. And I found a few more things that he didn't have, that we don't even have in the video, that needed to be tweaked. So very, very nice. If you're wanting to do quick changes, it's really nice for making quick changes to the overall look, not having to go through element by element. He did a lot of work. I don't know if you had contributed to that, Jason, or what. I know that you did with some of the focus and the lines around the search field.
Yeah, I did the initial like search bar modifications, which are a bug out there somewhere, but he's shared what he's done, and it's like, you're right, a crazy amount of work. But it's awesome because you can just go in there and put in your colors, and then it themes everything out to match your organization. I just pulled up the koha-US demo server. That looks really, really nice.
Can you share it, Jason? So your screen?
Can I share it, Christopher, or am I gonna mess up your video reveal?
Oh, no, no, that's not even in the video. Yeah,
Well, then yeah, I can share it.
go for it. But you know, I think overall, you know, that's the thing that I've been hearing about the most with this upgrade is, you know, the new look. Everybody's wanting to change it since they went in and changed the colors. It's like, okay, but yeah, I colorized the buttons and tabs and things to our kind of red, white, and bluish.
I think it looks really nice.
Yeah. I particularly don't. I don't know. I'm a little on the fence about the red, because I don't like to use red as a basic color, just because it's like, you know, usually it's a color that's used to signify a problem. So it's
Yeah,
like, oh, there's a problem with your site, everything's red.
I think like in a production setting, sure, but on the test server, I don't think it matters too much.
So Christopher, you said you're gonna, you guys are gonna have the code available for us in your next video. Is that right?
One of our upcoming videos. I don't know if it's the next video. It might be a few videos in the future.
Okay, great. Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, if you take what George has got, he has a site where he has all that information. It's all CSS. There's no jQuery in it. The only jQuery involved is if you're changing the logo. I actually did on our test server. I was playing around with something and I replaced the logo with an SVC. I converted our logo, which is just one color, to SVC, and that was really nice because you don't have to upload a graphic anywhere. But with the koha-US logo, if I try to do that, it just did it in monochrome, and it's like, I want the color. So
That's an issue I had this week. So I have like some of my assets hosted on GitLab, and GitLab went down. So my OPAC started looking real junky because it's like the image is broke and have a background that's on there. So a while back I had Bywater set it up so that we could upload files to Koha. So I finally went in, uploaded all those assets to the server itself, and then referenced it there. So that won't happen ever again, because if Koha is down, then Koha is down. You don't need those.
yeah, nobody cares about the graphics if koha's down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was glad when we were able to upload to the server, because yeah, I started moving all the graphics that we rely on in Koha to that, and it makes it real easy. You know, when you make it public, click the link and just paste it in the source.
And they load faster. There's no like delay for it going out to get it because it's on in the same place.
Yep. I have a question for everybody. I have a ticket open with Bywater. They're looking into something, but has anybody, I'm wondering if anybody uses Syndetics, and this isn't a 2211 particular issue. We're seeing it in our current 2205, but has anybody, since they changed the images to where it shows one image that you can switch through rather than displaying them all, has anybody noticed any slowdown on the loading of images? I've been seeing slowdown on book covers. The page will load and it takes a little while for the graphic to finally load, and I'm not sure if it's the new mechanism being used or what.
I remember that from 2205, and I went in and did something, which I don't remember what it is, but I somehow, first of all, I don't have it showing multiple covers. I took away the scrolling between because we're just using Syndetics, something like that. And then I somehow made like the container of where the image goes like the same size as what the image would be. And so it doesn't come in as like small and then get larger, which I think is what it was, or it doesn't come in and then like shift over on the page. And when I did that, things started going faster. And so I know you can't tell anything about what I don't even remember what I did, but I did something, and this is my normal way. I somehow fixed it, and I can look and see if it's, see if I can find it and see if it's something that would work at all for what. And is it on both the results page and the detail, or just the detail?
On both. It's on the tech and on the staff side. I suspect it's the new mechanism that they're using to display the covers. It's taking time if you have multiple images, and we do have multiple images because Syndetics doesn't provide things for some of the content that we have, like DVDs. And also, you know, we have a lot of things that we provide local images for.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
So-
we've got both images in the staff, but only the synthetics image on the OPAC, I think.
yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing is I wish it would look at, you know, and maybe it is, and that's why it's taking longer. It's, you know, looking at the size of the images and having to resize things before it displays it or what, I'm not sure. Because I do notice that prior to that synthetics, I had some modifications to load the synthetics image at a different size, because just the way they have it set up in general didn't do it. It was a little too small, so I opted to switch out some letters in the synthetics file name to load the larger image, and that doesn't seem to be working either.
We use the large image in place of whatever the standard is that they have in there, and it has seemed to work okay. I'll poke around and maybe we can get together.
Yeah.
We don't use synthetics at all, and I'm noticing in my test server, my images don't load in the detail view at all. They load pretty snappy in the search results, but then I click into it, it gives me a little circle in a box, and then it goes away. So that's an interesting thing I need to look into.
Yeah, I know they touched things to make some improvements on the overall loading and look of things, but I think some things broke in the process.
Well, I didn't realize that was a problem, Christopher, until you just mentioned it, and I just tried it. And now it's a spinning circle in our OPAC. So thank you.
Yeah, if you're with Biowater, open a ticket so they're aware that it's more of a overall thing rather than just a me thing.
Okay.
Generally, if they only hear about it from one person, they're like looking at you like, what did you do? What did you change? It's your fault here. You and all your customizations.
So Juliet, you just put a bug on there. I don't think we use synthetics though. So Christopher, that may be, is that the bug that you opened or no?
No.
It
Lucas,
looks like there's a lot of synthetics related bugs that just were opened in June, so I don't know which ones are relevant or.
Lucas may have opened that one because I did put a bug in his ear before I opened a ticket, but that might be because of my initial gripe.
We're still trying to get the Baker and Taylor Content Cafe to show on the staff side, but it's still not working for us either. There's a bug out, but it's been failed QA since last November. I don't know. I don't know how you get bugs moving again once they hit that point.
I go into the bug and say, hey, what's happening with this bug? It brings it on their radar again. Another good way to get some attention is find other people that use it and get them to chime in on it as well.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, anytime you comment on a bug, it sends an email to all people involved. So sometimes just commenting can bring it back to light, especially on the ones that are failed QA, because those do feel helpless. I mean, like, there's nothing you or I could do about it except comment and try and get it back in front of somebody.
Even if it's something like, you could test on a sandbox. I don't know about this one, but if it's something that you could test in a sandbox or test out and you're willing to, but it just hasn't been updated since it failed, just say, hey, I want to test this. Can somebody update this? Might encourage them, since somebody's willing to
Sure.
put in the work on the other side.
All right, well, we've rounded out the hour. I guess we can, is there anything else anybody has burning questions about before we wrap up?
Besides Fred.
I'm going to limit myself to taking up half the meeting.
Okay. Well, then we will call it here, and I guess see everybody next month. Thanks,
Hi,
everybody.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Farewell.